Thank you, Council President. I actually came to talk about another matter, but I stayed because I, wanted to hear the outside counsel make their presentations, and I think that in my short period of time sitting up there, I don't know if we had a more diverse body of outside counsel brought before you, this body, than has ever been. So we are going to continue along that line, and I'm just happy and proud of all of the professionals that came up here today and presented themselves very well, very astute, and an incredible amount of diversity up here that represents our city. So, and a lot of city residents as well. So I'm glad of that. Hopefully you are, and I'm happy and excited that you saw fit to approve them. One, I just want to say Happy New Year. It's coming. I'm not going to see you before the New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I might see John somewhere, but I don't know. But, I just want to say that, and Happy New Year to the residents out there. I actually came because I forgot that the public safety director was not on the agenda today. I had in my mind, I thought it was on the agenda, but it isn't. I'm just hoping that we get to wrap this up as early as we possibly can. This morning, I had to cancel a few meetings because I had to go to a resident's home who I've known for a very, very long time. As she cried on the floor, she lost the third of her sons this evening, all to gun violence in the city over a period of time, and she lost the third one last night on 11th Street and 11th Avenue. It was heartbreaking for me. She worked with me at Central for some time, and her son is one of her sons who passed the first time as like a son to me. So it was very difficult this morning, but we desperately need to do something different about what's happening in the city, and I just hopefully that we all can take public safety in the city, make that our #1 priority in terms of everything that we do. And around here, a lot of folks in this community are counting on us to do what it is that we need to do on our part, but we also need to count on them to do what they need to do on their part. I mean, this is a collective thing, and as many people come to this mic over and over again, and I listen and watch the council meetings of people, the same characters over and over again complain about the way the city is going. We can't have it both ways, y'all. We can't complain and then be afraid of change at the same time. We have to want change. If that's what we're crying for, when change comes, it won't necessarily come in the way that you want it to come all the time, but change is necessary and here, and so we have to embrace it and push it because obviously what has been going on has not been acceptable, and so that we need to be able to go forward and address what's happening in our city in a very very quick and definite way, very clear way of addressing the violence and crime in our community. As we move into the new year, we have to take this very seriously, and all politics, all people, all friends, everything aside, we have to make sure that the community is safe, that people can walk these streets safely, and that we're doing whatever we can in our power to make sure that our residents don't have to experience what this mother experienced, losing 3 of her sons, which is like a war, where you send your kids off to war, you lose all 3 of them in a war, you lose all 3 of your sons in the streets of Newark is painfully disturbing to me, to say the least. And, I think that we're all responsible. I take responsibility for her son's death, and I think there are many other people who need to step up and take responsibility for it as well. I take responsibility as a father, as a friend to her, as a friend to those kids, as the mayor of this city, as a resident of this community. I take full responsibility for the fact that we have not done all that we can do, and that we sometimes allow small things and obstacles to get in our way to accomplish the things that we need to accomplish. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to move on a lot of these things until January. But I am confident that when that day comes, there's going to be some serious changes in this city around public safety, and I'm happy about it. I'm happy about the cadets we have in the academy. I'm happy about the discussion that we're talking about with the county executive about getting our new academy. I'm happy about the public safety director, about the changes that we're going to make throughout the department and throughout the city. I think it's refreshing. The city needs it. We haven't had our police officers' average age is very high because a lot of folks were retired or were laid off, but we're bringing new officers in every year. And with your support, we're going to bring 450 new cops into the city before this term is up. And we need your full and undying support and unyielding support in that and helping us bring these officers on, but also in the changes that are going to be coming in the police department very soon and very quick and very rapidly in the next couple of weeks, months. As a matter of fact, there's going to be some serious changes happening, and we need your support on that because what's happening now is unacceptable. And I'm sure you understand that as well. And when the people come to this mic and they say that what's going on in the streets is unacceptable, they also have to accept the change that we're moving forward to make in this town, because we can't have it both ways, right? My mother used to say that to me all the time. You can't have it both ways, right? You can't want the responsibility but not the accountability that the responsibility brings. So we can't have it both ways. And by the grace of God, on January the 9th, I believe, or the 4th is the next meeting.
The
6th. That
it's sooner than that.
We'll be able to make this thing happen for us in the city and begin to move forward in the plans that we need in order to revitalize our police department, our fire department, our OEM, but more importantly, put the troops on the street and begin to do something about these murders and killings that are happening and shootings that are happening in our city. All other crime is down in Newark except the shootings and the robberies, and we have to do something about it, y'all. It's just that clear to me. And this morning, this woman cried on her floor, and I felt very hopeless and helpless about what I could do for her, losing a third child in the city, and having to go later on identify a video and watch a video of it was enough for me to call the police department and tell them she can't watch a video today, that she has to watch it another day, because it's unbearable for her to have to go through this twice like this. And it's serious to me because I don't know if people know it or not. You know, I actually live in this city. I was born and raised here, so most of these people that are killing, that are dying, I know a lot of these kids because I was an educator for 22 years. So a lot of these kids that are laying out on the street, I know them and their parents. And so it was very hurtful for me this morning as a person, not just as the mayor of the city.
Councilwoman Tierney Field Jenkins.
Mayor, first of all, they say that there's nothing worse for any parent than to lose their child. For someone to lose three is unspeakable. Just out of curiosity, how old was this young man?
Oh, he just graduated from high school a couple of years ago, so he, were either in his early 20s or late teens. Right.
Well, it's still too soon, but will we all have an opportunity at some point in time to meet with the new public safety director? You said that there are going to be changes that are going to be moving swiftly, quickly, in the police department, OEM, and fire department. The council can be briefed and have conversations with the prospective persons.
Well, right now he's can't do anything until the 6th, when the vote happens, and then, there have been discussions with everybody. We're moving forward, making sure everybody's on the same page. When that vote happens, we get to move forward by the grace of God. It's in the affirmative, and after that, I'll allow him the opportunity to come and talk and debrief about what the strategies and plans are in the city, and
I'm sorry, I thought that he had already spoken to the press about a tentative plan.
Yeah, he did. I don't think he has given them a full-blown kind of discussion about what's happening in the city. I just think that he may believe that it's not appropriate at this time to have a conversation until he's, until it's actually voted upon, that is actually going to take place, that it might be a little premature. But the press is calling, and I did give him the permission to have a conversation with them, about what he has in his mind. But, following protocol, we have to move forward here on this vote. And when that happens, I'm sure he'll be more than happy, and he wants to have a conversation with you guys and ladies about what needs to happen. If that involves the county, the state, the federal government, and Newark Police here in this city, about how we move forward. And a lot of it has to do with younger troops, more coordination, more intelligence, more things of that nature, putting officers where we need them in the city. And everybody is not going to be overwhelmed and excited and joyful about all of the changes that are being made, but we need to make them. That's, without trepidation, I'll say that these changes need to be made.
Mayor, can I also make a suggestion? While it has not been, it's not official yet, the new director, it appears that it is going to be a particular person. So would it be appropriate for, and somebody suggested this to me over the weekend, would it be appropriate for him to introduce himself if need be, but because most of us know who that person may be, pending the vote. But those who may not know him as well as we do, if he could, would it be appropriate for him to have a sit down with council members prior to the vote?
Well, that's
what I just asked.
You
said it nicer.
Not as a group. If you want to call him and talk to him, I think that's, your prerogative to do so, to get more information about him. In fact, you have to vote on this whole move, right? So ultimately, it's not about who the person is, because he's not. We don't have to have a public safety director in order to change the director. And the people have made it about these individuals, but we don't have to. If it was just about the individual, we just change the individual, if that's really what it was, and put somebody else there. We can do that. What we're doing is changing the whole structure of the department itself, which has greater implications than just the personalities that are involved in it, right? Unfortunately, when you make these kinds of changes, personalities are involved in the changes that you make. But these things have to happen. Ultimately, because if it was just about the fire director or the police director, we could change the fire director, we could change the police director without changing the makeup and the structure of the department. But all of that is necessary for the things that we need to do going forward in this city. It's just, we happen to have Anthony Ambrose as, and you could say his name, is the choice that we think to run all three of these agencies, which is a huge undertaking, by the way, together with the help of people who are here to make these things happen, to streamline our services, to fix our communications, our 911 dispatching, our response time, some of it technical, some of it personnel issues, to begin to get the resources that the police officers need from the state, to begin to get our academy back, to put police officers through the academy and put them on the street. We need to make these things happen immediately, and we need very forceful and connected leadership to make these things happen, or else we'll be waiting and playing this politic game with these folks, and our kids will be dying in the streets every day until somebody has the stomach to change this whole thing, regardless of what naysayers say.
Right, I get it. I just want you to know that. I just thought that was a good step, intermediate step.
Say something.
Councilman McCallum and Councilman Ramos.
I just want to commend, excuse me, I just want to commend you on the changes. Very necessary changes. I don't know if people realize, but when you sit up here or in your position, it's like it becomes very personal. And when all of the shootings come to these Blackberries, even like on Saturdays and Sundays, whenever they happen,
100%.
and then we end up going to these funerals with people that we may know, we may not know, that it takes a lot out of us. And so I agree with you, the changes are necessary because it's just not acceptable. It just happens too much. And other parts of the city are better. You know, like you said, crime is down, and it's pretty obvious, I guess, to all of us. But these shootings, man, we have to do something about them. So I agree with you. I support it.
Councilman Ramos.
Yeah, I too want to commend you, Mayor, for taking the bold step of creating, public safety department. And, he's kind of caught in a catch-22 because we have a pending public safety director, but unfortunately the ordinance was supposed to be on second reading, final passage today. It's not, so it's not official on the agenda until next week. So once the ordinance is passed and he has a department, he has the position of the director created, and I assume after that you'll be able to appoint that person provisionally. So, you have my full support on this. I think it's important. It definitely creates a lot of efficiencies in the department, and I think you're bringing in someone who has incredible experience and very well respected and regarded, in the law enforcement community. So it's not a popular thing sometimes to do. I've gotten a bunch of calls from officers who are in the department and they're a little bit nervous, but my response to them is the city needs you, and wherever they place you, that's where you have to be. You have to work hard on behalf of our residents. Mm-hmm. That's what you took the sworn and the oath for, so.
Yeah. So the last thing is that, just speaking to Councilwoman Jenkins and Council President's point, we had these lawyers in the room, we have to go through this process because, he can't do things, act like the director or, make people do this or go this way or do that without being the actual person. I mean, if there are people in the department who don't approve, and so, or other folks, and we need to make sure we follow every protocol that's necessary until this thing is done properly. I got a call from a very close confidant of mine who yesterday morning asked me, was I being bullied? Because he didn't believe the decision that I made, and I said,
they obviously don't know you.
Right, I said, no, you know me, that nobody, everything that was done because I wanted it to be done, and I thought about it for a very long time, as a matter of fact, and with confidence of a few people to talk about how this happens, and had to talk to a bunch of people around the county to make sure that we did it in a way that the city can benefit at the same time. So I'm happy about the structure that we're about to put in place. I just wanted to get done, and we need it done, desperately. I thought I was going to be coming here to speak about it, but I forgot about it. But I did it. I decided to speak anyway because of what happened this morning. Last night and where I was this morning. So, Happy New Year to everybody again.
Thank you.
And,
Councilman Osborne wants to make.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to say I'm happy that you're open to new ideas, and I fully support you on this, all right?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
As one who came to the table, Mayor, and you know this, kicking and screaming, I am excited about implementation. Spell that word.
Implementation.
Implementation.
Right.
You can see how excited I am. I can't even pronounce the word. But I'm excited to see the new process put in place. And it's not that Mildred had a come to Jesus moment. I cannot tell you the number of police officers and that I see, that I know, that I've watched them grow up, who have said to me over the last week or so that they're pleased that the new process. There are those who are disgruntled, but that's okay. They'll come around. But for the most part, I need to tell you, your law enforcement has your back, and they support this move.
Thank you.
Mayor, I just want to say that this is an extremely bold move, but it is to include fire, safety, and OEM is critical. And I think that's one of the emphasis that people have to understand with this decision, is that Newark is a city that surpasses over 1 million people in population during the course of the day. And to bring all of those things in accountability, I think people forget that one of the criticisms that happened after 9/11 was that when people showed up, the police were like, we're in charge, the fire department said they were in charge, and to be able to lay out clearly who is in charge and in what situations is critical. And as mayor of this city and as the governing body, public safety at all levels, especially with Homeland Security, has to be paramount. And it's not about the politics of personalities. It is about turning rhetoric into reality. We have to make sure that the citizenry is safe. And I applaud the decision to do this. The only reason why I brought up the fact that could we have conversations, because there are those of us who know the person, know Director Ambrose, okay? But the issue is, prior to, this council should have had the opportunity to speak to him as council people, just to get a general feel, so that when the public turns around and says, oh yeah, I just voted and didn't even speak to the guy. I mean, I can pick up the phone and call him. That's not the issue. My thing is, if you're talking to the press, then you can informally have a conversation with the council.
Well, I agree with that. The only caveat is that we could have easily just voted on the change of the reorganization of the departments, and the personalities wouldn't have been involved in it. So you're not voting for Ambrose. What you're voting for is the combination or the consolidation of fire, OEM, and police. We could have done that and left everything the way it is and just changed the department in terms of just its structure, right? And so that's what we're really voting on. Later, I have to say that he is, acting, and then you have to confirm him like any other director is confirmed in this city. So what happened is, because of the politics of it, the cart came before the horse. The reality is everybody is talking about the personality as opposed to the change itself, right? So if we would have never mentioned the changes and said we're changing the department and the individuals were the same, then the vote would just be on the department changes, which everybody agrees is a positive thing to do based on what I hear. The individual person involved is what gives people trepidation and caution about how to move forward, and people that are affected, right? So in the change, there are going to be people that are affected by the change. Obviously, when you combine, you're going to get rid of deputy directors, you're going to get rid of directors, you're going to consolidate staff. So there are people that are going to be affected. And that's really what the discussion should be centered on, is the actual change itself, which to me is more important than anything else, because that is long lasting. That lives beyond the personalities, the individuals, the mayor, and everybody else, and somebody has to come back up and create another ordinance and change it back, right? So that's really what it is. I think when we gave thought to bringing all of those departments together and doing all these things, we need another level of experience that exists other than what we have presently. We need a hands that's able to reach in all areas of the state and the federal government and be able to do the things that we need to do to balance not 950 employees, but thousands of employees. You're talking about he'll be in charge of almost more than half of the employees of the city will be under the auspices of the new public safety director at this point, because police and fire are the largest number of employees that we have and cost us the most money in this town. So when we bring those together with OEM, you need somebody that can be able to ride that horse, and that's a hell of a horse to ride.
Well, we did that, Mayor, when you
Right.
gave us the idea. and the ordinance. No one up here questioned at that point in time who was it going to be.
Right.
And because all 9 of us understood that it was more important about getting it under control and making sure that there was a coordination of services.
Right. Madam President.
Yes, Councilman James.
Mayor, I'd like to take the
Oh,
time.
I'm sorry, Councilman Quintana, I usually write it down.
Okay.
Councilman Quintana, then Councilman James.
You know, it's interesting. Over the weekend, I got some calls from some folks. And, you know, same people who, as the Mayor alluded to, continue to, but they don't bring any suggestions. What they bring is destruction. We all campaigned, all of us, whether we were on one side or the other side or whatever. We campaigned about the public safety of the citizens of this city. And that's the heart of elected officials that we said, and that's what people expect of us. It's not, the decision right now, Mayor, is you have made a great decision. It is easy to say that's a bad decision, but it's a great decision because we have to have a solution to the hue and cry of people in this city. There got to be some boots on the street, and it's got to be someone who's going to be at the head responsible. Around the country, public safety directors are being put because they're effective. I know someone called me and said, well, East Orange is East Orange, and Jersey City is Jersey City. But don't compare us to anyone. We are Newarkers. And I just want to say this to you. I support this decision of yours. From the beginning, I thought it was a great idea. I don't want to flip-flop on something. This is not about flip-flopping, and this is not about grandstanding. This is about decisions. And we as a body have to make a decision. The politics of it has to put to the side, our friends to the side, and we need to move this city forward. So I want to commend you and thank you for that publicly.
Thank you. Councilman James.
Mayor, I just want to take this time to commend you for elevating Director Eugene Venable. I had the opportunity when I first came on, the Councilman at Large, of working with him closely in the South Ward as a captain at that time. When you became mayor, then you decided to make him police director. And as my understanding with my conversations with you, he's still going to be kept working with the new public safety director. Just publicly, I want to express my gratitude that he's still going to be in that upper echelon and still able to influence how the police do their operations, because he did do a yeoman's job, not only as a captain, but as a director for the department. And again, I want to publicly commend him and you for trying to transform our police department. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.